In John 8, in Mark chapter 8, we meet a blind guy at Bethsaida. And let's read these verses and just see how this relates to us in our lives and in our own marriages. From verse 22, the Bible says, Mark 8:22, they came to Bethsaida, and some people brought a blind man and begged Jesus to touch him. He took the blind man by the hand and led him outside the village. When he had spit on the man's eyes and put his hands on him, Jesus asked, "Do you see anything?" So Jesus spits in his eyes, puts his hand on his eyes, and asks him, "Do you see anything?" He looked up and said, "I see people. They look like trees walking around." Once more, Jesus put his hands on the man's eyes. Then his eyes were opened. His sight was restored, and he saw everything clearly. Jesus sent him home and said, "Don't even go to the village." One of my lecturers used to say, Reverend John Mayen used to say that perception determines perspective. The way you see things, the way you perceive things are going to determine the way you're going to run those things and the way those things are going to end. So this blind man is brought to Jesus. I have a problem with this scenario because this guy is blind. So two things happen. He is brought to the guy who can change his life by people. And secondly, these people speak on his behalf. He doesn't even take time to be like blind Bartimaeus. Remember blind Bartimaeus, when he heard that Jesus Christ was passing by, he did not ask for permission. He cried out and said, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." But this guy is brought to the one person in the whole world who can alter one of his major senses, sight. And the dude is just quiet. He doesn't say a word. So these guys speak, they speak on his behalf. Then Jesus goes ahead, spits on his eyes and puts his hand on them. And then he asks him, "Can you see anything?" So it begs the question, why didn't Jesus just say, "Receive your healing"? Why didn't Jesus just ask him to go away? Is it because the man did not have faith? Is it because Jesus could perceive that this guy's problem is not necessarily sight but perception? When this guy opens his eyes, his answer is a very, very strange one. It tells us that this guy had sight prior to becoming blind. He says, "I see men, but they look like trees." What comparison is that? Trees are stationary, men are mobile, but his sight is so impaired that what he can see are human beings looking like trees. So I'm thinking, if Jesus would have decided to walk away from this man at that point and left him in that state, this man could have treated every human being that he met like a tree. And that could be the problem in some of our marriages. We treat our spouses the way we see them. But Jesus doesn't stop there. He goes ahead and touches his eyes a second time, and the result is that this guy's eyesight is restored clearly. And now he sees people for who they are. Something could have happened in a marriage, and you've lost sight of your spouse, or you've lost sight of the important things that matter in your marriage. And right now, all that you have to go with is impaired vision. You do not see your spouse as that sweet, nice person, sweet, considerate person, and you've stopped treating them like your spouse. You're now treating them like this blind man, like a tree or like something else, like an object. You're rude to them, you're mean to them. It's not your problem, and it may not be their problem, or it could be their problem. Your perception is going to determine how you treat and respond to them. When you change your perception, you change the outcome, because your perception is able to see beyond what is able to see beyond what is ahead of you, what is in front of you. It sees the possibilities that lie ahead of you. So probably what happened to you was so traumatic or so discouraging Go back to the Lord and ask Him, touch my eyes again, touch my spiritual eyes, open them up so that I may see my partner in a different light. And guess what? It's going to happen for you because the Lord loves you so much. He wants your marriage to succeed. Trust me on that. God bless you. Make sure you subscribe. See you next week.